All right. We are back here at Song of the Day, coming to you from the Rock Cave. I'm your host, Mark Pierce. As usual, it is Saturday. Welcome to the weekend. 50 some odd degrees here in Connecticut. Boo! Sorry, I am a winter person. I'm an all-season person, but you know what? February, bring on the snow. That's what I say. That's your weather report for today. Let's get on to music news, because I'm Kurt Loder. Music news. Well, you know, not so much news. But what are we talking about today? I'm excited for today. We're going back to 1988, and I was thinking about 1988. As I said it before, there's this gap in coverage a little bit in my music journey, and it goes from 1987 to 1989. This is a time that we don't really talk about in my music past, but we're gonna address it one of these days. But in that time, I was in college, and in the dorm you had the Deadheads next door, you had the classic rock guy across the hall, you had the computer science majors listening to Rush. You had some of the guys that were into James Taylor, that kind of stuff. You had your metalheads, right? But there was this other thing going on, and I tended to hang out with a lot of women, and they were all listening to like that hip hop stuff, like CNC Music Factory, Bobby Brown. A little bit of Shaka Khan, Robin S. Remember Robin S? Show Me Love? So many songs like that. Well, I was listening to all that music. I just got to tell you, people, I'm going to be honest. I was listening to all that. And maybe we'll do an episode about that one of these days. But that was for me then. But I had fraternity brothers that had every single Led Zeppelin CD, for instance. Like everyone. So you had a little bit of everything going on. And I was listening to, of course, AC/DC and Poison and Guns N' Roses and all that stuff. But then this record came around, and it's an interesting record, and it took a long time to grow on me. But we're talking February 1988, when Robert Plant dropped his fourth solo album, Now and Then. It was a pretty big deal when it came out, I remember. And the classic rock people, they were totally into it. They were playing it all the time. I was struggling a little bit with it, but it doesn't make any sense because I was a huge fan of two of his previous solo records. Principle of Moments, loved that one, and Shaken and Stirred, and that one didn't even get as much attention, but they played a bunch of those songs on WPLR, Shaken and Stirred, and there's some good stuff on there, so I was a fan. But maybe I just wasn't in a place for this record, and it would take a lot of time. My buddy Sean Murphy, he was a huge Robert Plant fan, and he was all in on this record from day one. So what was going on with Robert Plant? So he had this solo career, and he totally was trying to differentiate himself. He was like, I don't want people to think I'm the lead singer of Led Zeppelin. I'm going to do something totally different. And he was very focused on not doing Led Zeppelin records and his solo stuff. And he wouldn't even do the Led Zeppelin hits live, like in concert. But finally, in 1988, he he was talking to one of the guys recording and said, well, this sounds like a blues song that you're singing. And he's like, no. And he's like, yeah, dude, you're a total blues singer. You should just do this. Because, of course, Led Zeppelin is rooted in the blues. And so he finally embraced who he was and was like, you know what? I was a singer of Led Zeppelin. I'm going to be okay with that. And let's move in a different direction. He had a new band. And so even though he used a lot of technology like the previous albums, and some of the stuff is a little too perfect, he restrained on his vocals. It's not like he was doing the Led Zeppelin vocal thing. But it does move a little bit more guitar forward rock like Led Zeppelin, and he does kind of embrace some of that. And it's even got some Middle Eastern tones to it. So that was a big deal. They commented a lot about that. And two of the tracks on this record have Jimmy Page playing guitar on them. I mean, come on. So it was a pretty big deal. It went to number 6 in the United States, number 10 in the UK. He was back. He was he was on the cover of Rolling Stone. I mean, they were talking about this. So what do you got for tracks on here? 3 singles on here. I never dig deep on this record. I did on the other ones, but for whatever reason I didn't. So if you dug deep on this one, you can tell me what other tracks on this record stuck out for you. But you got Heaven Knows, which was the first single, number 1 on the Billboard rock charts, and rock track charts. And that's a great song. That's, that was some good stuff. And you got Robert Plant playing. I mean, you got Jimmy Page playing on there. Ship of Fools, second single. Also, I really like that one. That went to number 84. It didn't go very high, but I think that was one of the ones that I gravitated to early. And then you got Tall Cool One. Tall Cool One was also a big deal because the Beastie Boys had already sampled Led Zeppelin without their permission, and this was kind of like a response to that, because it's not like they have Jimmy Page playing guitar riffs on here, but he just, at the end of the song, he goes through a bunch of Led Zeppelin songs. He does little riffs from Whole Lotta Love, Black Dog, Custard Pie, The Ocean, Dazed and Confused, and even sings some lines from When the Levee Breaks. So, there was a lot of talk about that, but that's a pretty cool song. So Robert Plant later would say, like 10 years after that, does this record hold up? He doesn't think it holds up as much just because he thinks it sounds like it's too much technology was used. And so there's still a little bit of too much perfection there. But yes, he was a big deal back then. But there's a lot to like about some of the stuff he was doing as far as that's concerned. So what's your song of the day? Your song of the day is Tall Cool One. It's fun to listen to. So tell me your memories. Did any of you guys see Robert Plant in concert solo? I don't know if I know anyone that saw any of the solo tours, but you need to let me know. And what do you remember about this record overall? But yes, it was a big deal. And Tall Cool One is your song of the day for this Saturday. Enjoy it, whatever you're doing. I hope it hope it involves music. Get another cup of coffee, Mark. Whew. All right, have a good one. And as usual, I'll catch you on the flip side.